the present moment, right? Like, I got talent right now, I got this in place right now, and that's going to sustain me. But it's not. It's not. It's certain attributes and it's certain ways that you got to go about building this thing for the longevity of your program. And if you're not doing these things that we about to talk about, you went for it. You went for it. So we just gonna finish off from where me and Chris started, and yeah, just go from there. Just go from there. So what we got? What we got first?
Hiring your staff, how would you go about that, would you say?
Yeah, so Chris already alluded to this a little bit. Chris hired family, and I think it's a lot of truth to that. Because you want people you could trust. You want people you can trust. The the worst part about being on the staff is when y'all not on the same page. That's it's like a deadly sin, because you got to turn your back at times, right? And if your staff is telling kids different from what your philosophy is and what your outlook is, it's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster, and it's going to come back to bite you. So you want to build a staff that first has the same values that you have. Secondly, like I said, you want to build with people that you can trust and that you could be honest with as far as criticism. Like, a lot of people, a lot of head coaches, and you would think this don't happen at the high school level, but it trickled down from the NFL and the NBA. A lot of head coaches don't want to be criticized. They really want yes men. Like, they want y'all to just be soldiers and just not tell me anything that I'm doing wrong. Like, no, this is the way we doing it, and that's it. I never understood that, because what is the assistants here for? Like, it's no point in them being here if they just gonna be yes men. You want people on your staff that's gonna criticize you, because what happens in the end of the day, it pushes you as a head coach. And head coach got to do the same thing. You got to push your staff, because I will hope everybody on your staff wants to be head coaches one day, or they got other goals and aspirations as far as longevity about what they want to do. You don't want to put your assistant coaches in jail. You want them to flourish. You want them to eventually leave your program and go start their own program. Otherwise, what we here for, right? So you want people on your staff that criticize you. And third, which I think is a very undervalued part of this whole ordeal, is you want people that's not good, that's better than you at certain attributes. You know what I mean?
What you mean? Like,
if you're not let's say you're not a defensive guy as far as football or basketball or something like that. That's not your expertise. You want somebody in your staff that's really good at teaching defense, But again, coaches get into that thing, the pride part, when they say, no, I got this. But in actuality, it's not a strength of yours. Chris alluded to this on the interview. He said, I'm not a defensive line coach. How many head coaches is going to say they struggle at teaching the defensive line, and I got to get better at it, but I know this guy over here can really do it? Not many coaches. And to me, that's one of the first signs of being a great coach, putting your ego to the side and being humble. I'm not that good at this. I need to go out and find somebody that's really good at it. Because it just makes everybody stronger as a staff. When we got bam, 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 bam. You got this guy that's good at training. You got this guy that's good at recruiting. You got this guy that's good at talking to kids. You got this guy that's good at leadership positions. You got this guy that's good at offense or defense. Now we're good as a whole. And I don't see a lot of staffs like that. You see a whole bunch of weaknesses, but it comes from pride, because we don't delegate our time, And me personally, I learned that the hard way. You can't do everything yourself. It's impossible. I don't care how good a coach you are. You can't do everything yourself, So you got to be able to delegate these tasks and move forward.
I just want to say, so you said you have to hire your family. Now, I just wanted you to allude on that, because does that put you at a disadvantage? Because isn't a lot of coaches out there, they may hire their boys, their friends, or somebody that is not really qualified for the job, and they'll get the position because you hire your family. So maybe I could interpret that wrong. I just wanted to.
No, that's a good question. The reason I agree with Chris about hiring his family, because I would assume he meant this. You should be able to trust your family. Like, and that's the start of that question. You want people that you can trust, because again, y'all leave and go home after the games.
And they don't have to be bloodline family.
Yeah,
but
everybody got to go out into the community. Everybody got to go and do these things, and you need somebody they gonna say good things about what you're doing. You know, they with you to the end no matter what. Even if you go on a 7-game losing streak, you know, y'all gonna fight with me to the end and vice versa. We preach that to the kids as family. It's the same thing with the coaching staff. But going back to your question, it is a caveat to that though, is because and that comes from leadership as a head coach. You also can't just hire people because they're your boys and your family, you know, because we got a job to do, right? We got a job to do that's important, you know, so you got to hire people that's qualified for the job. Or if they're not qualified for the job, you got to understand that as a coach, and put them in a box where they can't hurt anybody. You still teaching them, they're still getting on the job training, but they can't hurt the program, you know. And to me, that way everybody wins, you know. Yeah, you'll put them in a situation in practice where they can get better as a coach. You know, that won't necessarily affect you in the game, but you can't just be giving people these tasks in game where it can affect the whole program because that's your boy. You know, that's where leadership qualities come into play. Totally different. I think we talk about this all the time. I think hardworking coaches, hardworking people in general, is hard to find, right? So if you find a hardworking person that don't necessarily know the X's and O's and the things needed in order to perform as a coach, it's your job to teach them, but it's also your job to not put them in a situation where they can harm this entire thing that we doing, you know. So yeah, it's always a caveat to things like that. But first and foremost, you need people that you can trust, and you gotta figure it out after that. But
And you said people that believe in your whole vision, like.
yeah, because I mean, people got different philosophies and outlooks. A lot of people want to be the man. A lot of people think that the way they want to do it is the right way off the rip. They just don't tell you. But what's going to happen is, and it's going to happen, it's going to come a time where you go on a 3-game losing streak. It's going to come a time where something's going wrong, where a parent is upset, where fans are upset and whatever like that. And if you're not on the same page, those characteristics of the person on your staff that's not on the same page with you, they will come out, guaranteed. Right? So you got to lay those ground rules from the rip when you in the interviewing process with these people. Like, look, this is the way I want to do it. Bam, bam, bam. Tell me your philosophy on it. Do you agree that way? I'm a defensive guy first, no matter what. Offense is great, but I'm a defensive guy first. If you want to just score points and you don't really care about defense, we're going to have a problem. And we can't be on the same staff together. Because I have a philosophy that if you defend the basketball, at the worst, if you defend the basketball, you'll always be in the game. That's how I feel. Mm-hmm. Some people feel if I got a great offense, I could score 120 points. What are you talking about defense? No, I'm scoring 120 points a game. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. That's your twist, bro. That's your twist. That ain't how I approach the game. So we can never be on the staff. So that's what I mean by that.
Okay.